When there are cuts to budgets, it's usually the arts that go first.
You have to fight to make people understand, no, this really is important in who we are as human beings. For that, that's what I fight for.
My name is Rath, and I am a Girl Scout from Central Indiana. Throughout my life, I've been a very creative person. I believe arts have not only impacted my life in such a positive way, but the lives of so many people around me. I wanted to create a documentary that didn't just throw facts and statistics every which way and hope you understand by, oh, look how much they're being cut, and that's why we need to save them, but rather tell the stories of the people around me and how the arts have impacted their lives.
My parents thankfully saw that I was a creative person. I was involved in dance clubs at my elementary school. I would create theatrical productions and cast my brother and my sister. So I was definitely a creative person.
There was always music in my house. My dad was a jazz musician. He took us to the South Bend Symphony, and my mom loved Broadway, so we would have Broadway records at home that we would listen to. So there was always music in the house.
You know, of course, the piano lessons was my mom getting me started in it. But when we had our first recital, and I could perform in front of people, and they enjoyed it, and I did a good job, that was kind of a big aha moment for me. That, wow, I can do this and entertain people. And I'm not bad at it. And that was pretty exciting for a kid to realize that you had that ability.
I would sit in my room and sing those songs and imagine, all that could be. And so that hunger and desire, my parents encouraged that, and I got involved in a local community theater. And so somewhere in there, I always loved to sing, but it fostered the love for the theatrical side as well.
My senior year is when I got into the art. I spent all my time, basically. If I had an open period, I was in the art room learning the wheel. If I had a study hall, I was in the art room learning the wheel. And that's really where my experience all started. When I went to college, I went for a whole different degree. And after one semester, I realized I needed to get back into the arts, so I went back for art.
I've played French horn since about 6th grade, so 6 years now. Before that, I played piano, did piano lessons on and off. Through band, I really began to develop my skills by playing French horn and just learning music overall. My freshman year of high school, I joined our theater program because I was first starting to get interested in film, and theater was a way for me to explore that interest even when there wasn't many filmmaking opportunities around at all. We put on Little Women, and it was one of the best experiences of my life.
During COVID, when we were at home, my daughter has anxiety, and that was the most peaceful I've seen her in my life because she was painting every day and tie-dyeing every day and practicing her instruments every day. And she just was living her best life while she was at home because she had access to the materials and time to do all of that. And that was a lifesaver for us during that time that we were all at home.
Art helps with emotions. They've proven that 45 minutes of art is just as much as an hour of psychotherapy. So just having 45 minutes of art can slow your brain down and be calming. If you're working with 3D art, it helps with long muscle movement. So that actually gets your brain working in a different way to get away from what you're thinking about.
I think art can help you to feel seen. It's kind of like a reflection of who you are out on the paper, so it's kind of like a mirror. In a world that's really messed up sometimes, art kind of keeps you grounded.
Kids are some of the most artistic people out there, and they'll make anything a drawing if they can do it. I found creativity in being artistic in many different areas of life, and whenever I had a project at school, I would always try to make it as creative as possible. If it was a brochure where I had to decorate and make the cover and everything, I made it as colorful as I could. And that was just always something that was important to me.
I teach 9 through 12 all in the same room, and sometimes they come in and they look diverse, from different walks of life in the school.
I will say at my high school, if you were in the band, you were a band geek. I mean, you could have been Britney Spears, and if you'd been in the band, you would have been a band geek. But band was where I found my people, where I made all of my friends and found my community within my high school.
As we go through the class, they have to trust each other and get mixed into groups and do shows together, and before long, they leave open to people's stories more. And I think in society it's really important that we don't look on the outside and say, oh, you must be like this, but that we take the time to get to know each other.
Not only does it have that wonderful enjoyment of making music together, but it actually has a tangible benefit in that they will do better in school and they'll have a better chance of being successful in graduation and going on afterwards.
There's a lot of research that shows that kiddos who are involved in like music education, fine arts education, choir, anything creative, it actually benefits their academic standing too.
I read a study by a man named Schellenberg that was written in 2011, and people who either sang in a choir, took music lessons, or played for at least 1 year, they tested them and their IQ went up 1 or 2 points. And that was in spite of whether they came from a poor family, a wealthy family, what their ethnicity was. It didn't make any difference.
On the stage, they're collaborating towards something together. Everyone gets a fair shot on the stage. Everyone gets a fair shot in the choir. And it's really about just like passion and who they are. And all of that like socioeconomic gaps and like academic gaps and all of those other things just kind of like go away.
I can't stress how important being yourself, being your own person, having something that you love is for someone. Like some people, that's all they have.
There are so many opportunities for the arts, but it's not always capitalized on. And that can really hurt kids' education as they're learning things for the first time. They can't just be told it and understand it. They need a way to really dig deeper and so they can process all this different information.
The reason why I started looking for another job was that when money got tight, they just cut the whole music department. Everyone who taught there, my boss, everyone, choom, because music wasn't important anymore. It was a way to save money.
We saw that even just in this administration, when they're trying to balance our national federal budget, they're like, oh, let's just cut off the National Endowment to the Arts. In K through 12 as well, it seems as though the arts go first. And so I think that that's problematic. It doesn't really support students, that those cuts to arts education really end up damaging other academic areas too in terms of kids' involvement and motivation and success.
I think it's definitely hard being at a rural school, even seeing a school, 15 minutes away that is in a city, have so much more access because they have so many more kids who are going to be involved, and they're going to have so much more support from the community around them for volunteers to help with their programs and just financial resources in general. Because they're serving so many more kids, it's seen as so much more important.
I think money is always going to be an issue in arts programs. Musical instruments are very expensive. My kids play the bassoon. My son tried a brand new bassoon at All-State Band a few years ago. It was $26,000. So you think about a school providing a bassoon for kids, but if there was a kid who wanted to play the bassoon and a school didn't have one, there just isn't a lot of money to make those instruments available. And if you have low-income kids who can't afford to rent from a Pages or a Sound of Music, then there's no access for them. So now my son's graduated from high school, so he doesn't have access to a bassoon anymore. We could buy him a used one, but we're looking at $3,000 to $5,000 and just hope that it's in good shape and works.
But it is kind of sad because you will see that some will do a musical and they'll have the most fantastic costumes you've ever seen, and they're all rented and they'll look like amazing. And then there'll be this other little school over here and everybody has to go out and find their own costume. So and you'll just go, well, okay, So it's even in our little county here, there's a big difference.
Marching band is a whole other beast in itself. It's a lot of work to put a band show on the field, and if you don't have the money, you're not competitive. Our pay to play this year was $400 for one kid in the marching band. There are schools in Indianapolis, the kids are paying $800 to $1,000 a year to be in the marching band, and they're putting these shows on the field that are like professional level. And then you have these smaller schools that they just can't compete with that. And then I think their programs suffer because the kids go and they get demolished at these band contests, and then they don't want to come back because it's disheartening, and then your program starts dropping off.
We do live in a town with very similar high schools, at least in terms of they all have some form of theater and some form of band in that, but they are still unequal. And luckily, a lot of places are able to come together to get resources and help and support from other schools, but there's also a lot of times that there isn't that access because it is a very rural place and you just don't necessarily have that same support.
I played sports, and even though you're working towards the same goal, if you're not there, somebody takes your spot. I have a 10-year-old, and I'm like, she's gonna face this too. She loves athletics, she's competitive, she's got grit, but she loves to sing and dance. And we can't do everything. Kids really have to pick one thing to do so that they can compete and not sit the bench or not get the chorus every time. You know, they have to specialize a little bit. But in high school, you're still trying to figure out who you are, what your interests are, what your passions are. And so the people in charge of those things, remembering we're in education, and kids haven't picked yet what they want to do for their lives.
Band is probably what kept my son in high school. He's a smart kid. He always has been. But if he didn't see the point of doing something, he didn't want to do it.
I've had 9 band directors leave in the past 6 years. The turnover has affected not just my own learning and growth as a musician, but I saw how it impacted the band around me and people's involvement in the arts.
He had 1 year that he did the Career Center for Automotive. His band director actually let him take band independent study. So he gave up his prep period so that Nathan could come at that time and study independently and continue to play.
When things do become harder, just in overall life or in other areas of school where maybe band isn't your focus, having high band director turnover made it really difficult to stay part of the band. You don't have that stability of someone being like, hey, we're here to help you figure it out, so you can still be involved in band, and they aren't as invested in you personally to help you grow.
And that really made a big difference for him that year, and having the right attitude going to school. And he was a 3-sport athlete, but band is really where he found his people, and those are the people he still keeps in touch with for the most part since he graduated.
Kids really excel because of what they've done and being involved in the arts. One of my first students early on, she did so much music writing and all kinds of things. What she actually wanted to do was she worked at Best Buy and she wanted to be a business and she wanted to move up. She just moved up, 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 up. She was such a successful person. I could actually see the tangible benefits of what she did in the arts to then what she ended up translating into a different degree.
When I first started teaching, I taught with a student that had Duchenne's muscular dystrophy and he could only use one hand. And I talked with him about just because you're not creating the art does not mean you're not the artist, because it's coming from your brain and you're guiding the people in your own way. And to see him grow and flourish in those years that I worked with him really made a big impact on my life and my children's lives, because they saw that too.
My clients have opportunities to see themselves differently and their problems differently. And so a lot of times there will be these aha moments or insight where they're like, huh, I never realized I was doing that. I had one person who did a picture of their family and one of the family members was not included. And they hadn't really realized that they had not included that person until we were kind of processing who's all in the image. And so we got to kind of process through the relationship with this person who hadn't made it on the page. And maybe why that might have been.
For me personally, one of the best ways I learn is by visual representations. Being able to learn the respiratory system through creating a poster in biology, that helped me learn the different parts. I feel like better than any textbook ever could, because that is just the way that some kids learn, and having that ability and option to be able to do that can really help them grow in any area of their learning and help them interpret what they're processing in school into a way that they can truly understand and feel deeply.
There's just not a lot of spaces where people can stretch themselves into like other worlds and stretch themselves in the way that they express themselves.
I know private lessons made a difference for me, and it helped me advance and really develop my own personal skills. You know, a band director's got 20 to 40 kids in a class. You can't focus on one kid without losing control of the rest of the class. And so those private lessons make a difference. There are just a lot of kids that don't have the resources to take private lessons. I think people who have the artistic skills and would be willing to give back, maybe by volunteering as mentors to some of these students, would be really great. And just having somebody they can see who either is working professionally in those fields, so you can see it as a career option, or you're seeing them as somebody who maybe is an accountant but continues to play in a community symphony, you know, and see the possibilities that go beyond just being in high school.
One of the fundamental issues that I've seen throughout my whole struggle with being involved in the arts is the fact that it is underfunded, and it continues to be underfunded.
To continue programming, you have to have materials, and having financial resources in order to pay people a livable wage, those that have the expertise and the knowledge to share with other people, is really important.
Volunteers is a big part of it. If you have enough volunteers that are going to help and advertise and get the word out and ask for the help, then it's not just one person always doing it, then I think that really would be helpful.
I love that there's a group here, that the arts are kind of, I mean, they're a thing in Kokomo.
Even if I'm struggling, like at school, if we don't have the resources, my husband and I have decided that I will make it work. That's what's going to make it work to help people grow.
We live in a town that has 5 high schools and has 2 community groups. And those 7 groups are all willing to help each other. So we have resources.
Being part of the arts and creativity has been a huge part of my life as long as I can remember. And I don't think I would be as successful, not only in Girl Scouts, but beyond, without the arts.
I can't imagine doing anything else. We'll never retire. We'll go on forever until we drop dead, and they'll say, okay, I think she's dead now, she can't do any more shows.
Coming from an athletic, I can't go out and run up and down the basketball court anymore, but I can sit in my garage or in my classroom, and I can still be involved mentally and physically in something.
None of us should do life alone. I love that connection that comes from arts education and gives kids an awesome school experience.
It's just a part of who I am. Like even driving here today, I noticed a new sculpture downtown, and I noticed like a painting on a mural that I hadn't seen before, or maybe I was just seeing it in a new way. And I was thinking, oh, I'm so glad that our city supports artists and supports creativity through all of these kind of public works.
I think that's the majority of why I want to go into film, is because I've always been creative, and I found that this is the way that I continue that creativity and really channel it into something I love and that I believe can make a real difference in the world, because art is powerful.
So I don't know that you can ever disconnect people who enjoy creativity from art completely.
It's something you only do it if it's such a fire that you can't do anything else.